Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the NikkiTutorials by Beauty Bay palette. As you can see, I still have the last two looks that I did in yesterday's video on, and I'm going right into my review today. First off, I want to say the packaging of this palette is amazing. I know a lot of people thought that this side of the palette was going to be bright colors for her bright side and this side was going to be dark colors for her dark side, but when you open it, it does not appear that way. And Nikki has addressed that and said that she just really wanted to design something fun where the two different sides of how her brain works, and this was the look that she came up with. I think the packaging is great. I actually really love it, and it goes right into the back with her little, saying here and thank you for buying her palette. This sells for $30 on Beauty Bay. It is very reasonable. It is currently sold out. From my understanding, there were going to be two batches. So the first batch and then that second batch in case you weren't able to buy it, because she was only allowing everyone to purchase one palette. That way everybody could get their hands on it that wanted it. So if I'm correct, there should be a second launch, and then after that, that's it. She's not going to have any more. Looking on beautybay.com, there are reviews, and they do ask you questions when you're doing the reviews. So for color payoff, 64% said it is amazing and super pigmented, 14% said great, 9% said okay, 8% said poor, and 5% said good. I will say that there are some colors that have great, amazing, super pigmented. I will agree with that for some colors. And then other colors are great or okay. So it really depends on what you're using it for. The mattes, there are some mattes in there that as soon as you put it on, boom, awesome, I love it. There are some mattes that you have to build and work up, or some that get a little bit patchy. So it is a palette that you can work with. Again, it's a pressed pigment, so you have to already go in knowing that these are shades that you will probably have to build up. For blendability, the highest was so easy with 63%, 29% saying okay, and 8% saying hard to blend. I will say for most of them, they are easy to blend. There were a couple that are just okay, but for the most part, I'm on board with these so easy. And then for long lasting, 50% said all day and night, 37% said lasts well, and 13% said not enough. Now I can't say for sure because I've only used one of these for an all-day look, and for that one it did work well. Stayed on my entire shift, which was a 7-hour shift that day, with no movement, no creasing, no nothing. So for at least 7 hours it was good. And then I'm just gonna read a couple quick reviews. This person said pretty if used right. They gave it 4 out of 5 stars. They said that the day they got started to play with it, at first they were really disappointed. They couldn't get anything to blend. The glitter and the shimmer was going everywhere. The mattes were really patchy. They cleaned their face, went to bed frustrated, and the next day decided to treat it like another palette from a different brand, and they were a lot happier with the results. So again, this is one that I was talking about earlier. You really have to take those colors and pack them like I showed you in yesterday's video, and then blend. 90% of the time, that's what I do with any palette. I find packing the color gets me that instant pigment that I'm looking for, the instant color that looks like it's just from the pan, and then blend as needed and add more color if needed, because sometimes there are colors that you put the color down and then you blend it and poof, it disappeared. So I 100% agree. This one put 1 star and they wrote waste of money. They said, I would say by the great reviews that I must have received a defective palette. There is no payoff in the mattes. They are complete power, don't adhere to P. Louise or any other primer. The only way to get any sort of color out of the pan is to apply by patting onto your eyes, and they can't be blended. The shimmers are chunky and can be applied by finger. The One Silver Shimmer Pan is a mushy texture that can't be picked up by your finger or by a brush. Now I believe they're talking about Ivy. I will say that Ivy is a pretty soft one. I don't know if you can see the indents in there, but I definitely have finger and brush indents in there, and it does appear chunky when you apply it. You do have to kind of blend that one out, but the shimmer from that one is really great. So again, this is a pressed pigment. It's not gonna work like a palette that's not. The shimmers in here are super, super soft, but if applied with a finger, you get amazing payoff. Like, look at this one. I have 3 different shimmer shades going on in this eye, and I applied them with a finger and then this last one with a brush, and they look great. She did include a card that says what to use with each one. If you've never used makeup palette before, shimmer shades in any palette are best applied with a finger or a brush that you wet with some setting spray. And that's basically what the card tells you, is the shimmer ones use your finger and then the mattes use a brush. You don't need a card to tell you that, but she put it in there just in case. This palette also includes 2 mirrors, a regular mirror and one that is like close up to your face. I don't like that one because I see all my pores and it scares me and I don't like it, and I can see my crow's feet because I'm 40 and I don't like it, but it's very cool. I love how it opens. I've not seen a palette that's opened like this before. There might be one, I just haven't seen it. But for me, the color story is, you know, you can get this in most any other palettes that are out there now. I will say that the green on camera looks minty green, and it's more of a true green. I will also say though that that one takes a lot of building up to stay on. The yellow in this palette as well, it's very hard to get it to build up and show. And again, I will say that almost any yellow in almost any palette does that to me. The orange in this palette is a little boring for me. It's kind of, it's there. It's not bright. The only shade I have not used was Zomer, which looks kind of brown, but apparently it's a light pink. So that with Blend It Snap and Snap would be great together. I didn't use anything for Blend and Snap because I didn't think there was a color that could really hold with it, but apparently Zomer is its friend. That's really all the colors that I'm not a fan of. The red is pretty. I like the red in this palette. Reds are hard to do. I used Basic Trut. I keep calling it Basic Tut. Apparently it says Trut. My bad. But I've been using that one to kind of blend out the bottom lash line just to make sure it's nice and clean because it's a lighter tone. I've loved every one of the shimmers. Every one of the shimmers has worked wonderful for me. I love them all. So yeah, do you need to buy this palette if it becomes available again? No, you can get most of all the mattes in another palette. The shimmers, you could find similar ones too out there. Do you want to buy the palette because you want to support a beauty guru who has opened doors on YouTube for many, many influencers the past 10 years? Sure, why not? That's one of the main reasons that I purchased this. Plus, I mean, the packaging just sold me, and I love Nikki, so I wanted to support her and just do my part to say thank you for what you've done over on YouTube for the past 10 years for little old folks like me. That's my little review of this. I hope it was somewhat helpful. I'm a big believer in it's your money, spend it how you want it. So you want to get it, awesome. If you don't, it's cool. Just remember that if you do get it, you probably have to build some of those colors. You will have some fallout and you will have some kickback because it is a pressed pigment, so they're all very soft. Alright guys, anyway, that's that on that. We'll have another video coming up. I've been purchasing a few items from Kimchi Cosmetics, so we'll be looking at those really soon. If there's a brand that you want me to check out, leave me a comment down below. Did you get the Nikki palette? Do you plan on getting it if there is a second launch of it? Let me know in the comments as well. Alright guys, that's the end of that. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Share it if you want to. That always helps me out and I love it when you do. And if you hit the bell, you'll get notifications anytime I post new videos. Alright guys, until next time, bye.